Most people believe that the key to success in negotiation is getting to yes. But what if everything you've been taught about persuasion is wrong? What if the most powerful word in negotiation is actually no? That's the radical idea behind Start with No by Jim Camp, a negotiation expert and former military pilot who trained FBI agents, business leaders, and entrepreneurs in the art of effective negotiation. This book flips traditional negotiation theory on its head, teaching you how to stop chasing yes and start focusing on clarity, control, and results. Jim Camp's philosophy is simple but transformative. The best negotiators don't persuade or pressure. They don't manipulate emotions or play games. Instead, they stay calm, ask great questions, and invite honesty. They are not afraid of hearing no, because no is the beginning of real dialogue. He writes, "The world's greatest negotiators never try to get to yes. They start with no." Camp's system is called decision-based negotiation, and it's built around one central principle: control what you can control and never chase the other person's approval. When you seek yes, you give away power. When you are willing to hear no, you gain it back. He explains that traditional negotiation methods, like the famous win-win approach, are built on the idea of compromise. But compromise often leads to weak outcomes. You end up giving more than you should because you fear rejection. Camp argues that great negotiation isn't about agreement, it's about decision-making. And every decision, including no, brings you closer to the truth. Step 1. Stop trying to be liked. Most people fail in negotiations because they try too hard to be liked. They want to appear agreeable, reasonable, and friendly. But this need for approval is a trap. It makes you reactive instead of strategic. Camp teaches that emotions are the enemy of good decision-making. You can't control how others feel, but you can control your own emotional state. The goal is to detach from the outcome and focus on the process. When you let go of the need to be liked, you begin to negotiate from strength instead of insecurity. He writes, "If you need the deal, you've already lost the negotiation." Step 2. Embrace no. Camp says that no is not rejection, it's information. When someone says no, it reveals boundaries, fears, and motivations. No gives you clarity. It opens the door for deeper understanding. Instead of pushing harder when someone resists, Camp recommends taking a step back and asking questions. Help me understand why you feel that way. What would have to happen for this to work for you? When you respect no, you build trust. People relax when they realize they're not being pressured. Ironically, that makes them more open to working with you. He says, "Every time you hear no, you are one step closer to yes, the real yes, the one built on truth, not manipulation." Step 3. Define your mission and purpose. In any negotiation, whether it's a business deal, a job offer, or a conversation with your spouse, you must know your mission. Camp defines mission as your purpose and desired outcome in clear, measurable terms. Before you walk into a negotiation, ask yourself, what is my mission? What do I need to achieve? What problem am I trying to solve? This clarity prevents emotional decision-making. It helps you recognize what's essential and what's negotiable. Without a mission, you wander. With a mission, you lead. Camp also warns against entering a negotiation without knowing your limits. Define your walk-away point. Know what you will and will not accept. This boundary is not stubbornness, it's confidence. Step 4. Ask great questions. Camp believes that the most powerful negotiators are not great talkers, but great listeners. The key skill is asking precise, open-ended questions that uncover the other person's needs, fears, and motivations. He says, "You can't sell anything to anyone until you know what problem they need solved." Questions like, "Can you tell me what's most important to you about this decision?" Or, "What concerns do you have about moving forward?" shift the focus from pressure to understanding. When you ask thoughtful questions and listen without interrupting, you uncover valuable information that guides the negotiation toward a real solution. Step 5. Control the agenda. In negotiation, whoever controls the agenda controls the pace. Camp teaches that you should never let the other party dictate the direction of the conversation. Instead, lead with calm authority. He uses a concept called the system, which means creating structure, knowing your goals, managing time, and setting the tone for every meeting. This keeps the conversation focused on facts instead of emotions. He writes, "The system protects you from manipulation and distraction. It keeps you in control, even when the other side is aggressive or unpredictable." Step 6. Detach from the outcome. One of the hardest lessons in Start With No is learning to let go of attachment. When you desperately want a deal, a relationship, or approval, you make poor choices. You accept bad terms. You chase people who don't respect your value. Camp says, "The person with the least need always has the most power." When you detach emotionally, you become more effective. You think clearly. You ask better questions. You negotiate based on reality, not hope. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means freedom. It's the ability to walk away without fear. Step 7. Build vision and value. Camp emphasizes that negotiation isn't about convincing someone to agree with you. It's about helping them see a vision that aligns with their goals. The best negotiators build value through empathy and problem solving. Show the other person how your solution meets their needs, solves their problems, and helps them achieve what they want. When people see the value clearly, they make decisions willingly, not because they're persuaded, but because they believe. He writes, "Your job is not to close deals. Your job is to help people make good decisions." Step 8. Be comfortable with silence. Silence is one of the most powerful tools in negotiation. Most people rush to fill the silence because it feels awkward, but silence creates space for the other person to think, reveal information, or make an offer. Camp says, "Silence is not your enemy, it's your ally." When you stay quiet after making a statement or asking a question, you maintain control. You show confidence. You give the other person the gift of reflection. Step 9. Understand that negotiation is everywhere. Camp reminds us that negotiation is not just about business. It happens every day with your boss, your partner, your kids, even yourself. Every time you make a decision, you're negotiating priorities, desires, and boundaries. The same principles apply everywhere. Know your mission. Control your emotions. Respect no. And stay focused on what truly matters. Step 10. The real power of no. At the heart of Start With No is a mindset shift. No is not the end of a conversation. It's the beginning of real communication. It's the moment when both parties stop pretending and start being honest. Camp writes, "No is the foundation of all successful negotiation, because only when you hear no can you start to discover the truth." The big takeaway from Start With No is that success in negotiation and in life comes from emotional control, clarity, and courage. When you stop chasing approval and start focusing on honesty, you gain power. That was Start With No by Jim Camp, broken down into its most powerful lessons. Which of these principles will you apply first, asking better questions, defining your mission, or embracing the power of no? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this summary, make sure to like this video, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly breakdowns of life-changing books. Remember, real negotiation doesn't start with yes. It starts with no.